that you guys work on that batting situation near the goal line all the time, but I assume it's gratifying to see it work in real time, and the way Dortch did it the other day obviously made a big play there.
You hope that your drills and the things you ask guys to do apply in games. We try to simulate a lot of different ways that the ball can bounce. Sometimes we use volleyballs, sometimes we use footballs, bounce the ball, throw the ball, spin the ball, just to try and get them used to quick reflex. What do I do? Try and keep it from getting the end zone. But yeah, it's always good when the guys work on something and you see it show up on Sunday.
JG was talking to us yesterday about how important it is, the special teams component, when you have starters, both offensive and defensive starters that play special teams. What is the value on your end from that perspective?
What is the value of being
having starters that play offense and defense on special teams as well?
Well, I mean, you're so limited from a number standpoint. That's the first thing that a lot of guys that come from college say when they get to the league is, wow, there's like half as many guys, dress. So you've got to find a way to allocate your roster in different places. Every defensive player is involved in field goal block. The offensive line is all involved in field goal protection, usually the tight ends. And the skill guys get involved. I mean, it's really, everybody but the starting quarterback, when you factor in the hands team and stuff. So that's number one, like being able to find a role for different guys. And obviously, there's not a lot of situations where a guy's going to play every special teams play and every offense and or defensive play. It happens sometimes, but you try not to do that because over 17 games, the attrition that's going to weigh on a guy is tough. Having said all of that stuff, we have guys with, good attitudes, good work ethic. They understand that, for a guy to go in and down a ball inside the 5, like that's a big play. Or if it's punt return and one of our starting corners has to be out there to hold up their gunner to try and get a return started, like that's important. The field position as it relates to kickoff and kickoff return, it's come back a little bit. So, I think the guys just understand to be pros, you got to do what you got to do to win games.
What did you envision when you guys tried out Chad? I mean, I'm sure you didn't expect 3 game-winning kicks in 4 weeks, but did you think that he could be as consistent as he has? He's only missed 1 kick during his time as the place kicker.
I mean, the expectation for anybody that you sign on a roster is they're going to be successful in whatever role that you want to give them. The unique thing about a specialist is usually only one on the roster. So, I guess a wide receiver, you can kind of develop a guy, who maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. Like, if you're the kicker, you're kicking. So the expectation you have success. And, I thought I kind of went through the workout thing, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but he's been good since he's been here, and hope that, stays going.
How much confidence was there? And now good to see what has been talked about a lot, making the long one. And that was his first. I know he made a couple last year with New England, but hitting that one, how big was that? Again,
you want to see practice translate to games. You guys aren't out there when we're kicking field goals, but leg strength is a non-issue with him. To be able to see it translate in a game is good. I've said it before, like I'm thinking about the kicker, the holder, the snapper, the protection, all of those things that go into that one single play. And there's a lot of moving parts, but at the end of the day, once it gets to him, he's got to put it through.
How will you handle when Matt's ready to come back? Is this his job, or does Chad kind of complicate things a little bit now?
We are like 1 week into an injured reserve situation. I mean, it's probably a little soon to be having those kinds of conversations. I promise you the only thing I'm thinking about right now is Chicago.
I think Blake's getting enough credit for as well as he's played, especially over the last couple of weeks.
You're assuming that I'm reading or watching whatever might be said. So if you guys are saying he's not done well, then yes, he's not getting enough credit. But I think he's kind of held his own the last couple of weeks.
It's almost not surprising anymore when any kickers are making these 50, 55, 58 yarders. When you look around the league, what's your reaction when you see the consistent accuracy that there is on these long field goals now?
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 weeks ago. There was a week where like there's all these long kicks being made, and I got asked that question, and it was like, guys are kicking well, and the very next week, like they're less than 50%. So you got to kind of let these things play out over the course of the season as the weather changes and stuff. I just think that when guys have success and you do things in practice, demonstrate that you can do it, you get an opportunity in a game, you make one of those, you have success, you're going to get more opportunities. And, the guys who haven't had as much success aren't getting, those opportunities. But, the guys have gotten better. And I'd reiterate the exact same thing I said when it came up, whatever week that was. Like, the whole unit is better, than it was 20 years ago. The snappers are better. They're specialized guys. There's more punters holding than quarterbacks, so those guys spend hours upon hours with each other. Like, it just continues to get refined. And, a guy that was, considered the best kicker in football 30 years ago who's, 80%, like 80% isn't going to put you in the top, 10 now, usually at the end of the year. So it's not surprising. Guys are just better, but the operation and stuff is better than it used to be. And the other thing, this doesn't get talked about a lot, but like the field goal block is different. When I first got in the league, you had a 300-pound nose guard, 2 guys next to him on either side, and 3 guys pushing those 3 guys on the back of the snapper in between 2 A-gaps. Like, you're talking about 6 guys crashing in there. Like, that's hard to defend for good reason, player safety. That has been ruled out, but some of those things in terms of like the penetration inside to contest field goals isn't quite as violent as what it used to be.
You talked about not paying attention to what is said, mentioned elsewhere, but there is an excitement in the Valley about what you guys have done. It's been a long road back to 500, winning back-to-back weeks. Can you feel that, or does it just seem like any other week walking around this building?
It's interesting that you put it like that, and here's why. Like, since they redid some things in the building, like, you're only talking about players and coaches and personnel that really I interact on a daily basis, other than the people that, there's some staff that interact, but, like, I don't have that much interaction walking around with where it was a couple of years ago where, a lot of the departments were still in this physical building. So I don't necessarily feel it either way, just because, look, people would rather win than lose, right? Like, the world seems better when you win than you lose. But at the end of the day, like, you play a game on Sunday, you watch the tape, you grade it, you communicate it with the players, and you were on to Chicago, like, immediately. So there's just, the more time that you spend, kind of looking back and, out the rearview mirror, it's hard to look ahead. So you kind of just turn the page and roll. It's certainly, again, better winning than losing, but it's a one-week deal in this world.
Do you think with kickers, there's more of guys concentrating on that earlier, way before the NFL, and knowing that's a path perhaps, and with kicking camps and kicking coaches and all that, do you think that contributes? Because it seems even in college, the kickers are a lot better than they used to be.
Yeah, I don't know, just because it's been a while since I've been in college, and seeing those guys get through camps. I always think it's humorous that every 5 and 6-year-old kid, when they come to the stadium, like, everybody kicks and wants to catch punts and stuff, and they get in high school and they want to do something else. But there's certainly opportunities that guys figure out whether they're the best athlete in their 3rd grade class or the worst guy. Like, kicking is a very specialized deal, so some guys are kind of forced into that in terms of trying to contribute, and some guys are just naturally blessed that they're good at it.